Welcome to the video from thedislife.com. In this video I'm going to look at a selection of my favourite famous sounds of the DX7, and here I've got a TX7. The TX7 is exactly the same as DX7, just without the keyboard. It's a MIDI desktop unit. All these sounds are available on the internet, and in fact I've got my own selection, patch selection, available on Music Tech downloads on thedislife.com, so you can try some of these if you want. But they're all over the place on the internet. You can get all the original ROMs, and many of these sounds are famous because they're one of the original presets that came with it, and these are famously difficult to program, so people use the presets. Okay, so let's have a listen to some of my favourite sounds. So I'm going to start off with one called Sin Orchestra, and this is a really nice pad sound, and you may recognise this one as well. And I've put some reverb on this just to give it a bit of atmosphere. That's a bit of Queen Who Wants to Live Forever, and if you watch the Queen live 1986 from Wembley, you'll see that Brian May's playing the DX7, and I believe that is the patch, but it's a really nice patch, that one. The Marimba, this is it dry. Used in loads of 80s stuff. You may recognise it from Axel F, Harold Faltermeyer, that kind of thing. So that's the Marimba. I really like the Marimba because it's got a nice musical effect to it in a mix and a bit of atmosphere. I've actually got another one which I use, which is on my collection, which is called DX Marimba, which is a bit more metal, but that's not the one that Harold Faltermeyer used. So the next one is Bass 2. Berlin, Take My Breath Away. You hear that kind of buzz at the end. I'm pretty sure that on the Berlin version they removed that was edited out. You can just alter the envelope to take that out. But that's the bass patch, which is meant to be an upright bass. Next one is a Koto, Japanese instrument. Lots of different tracks, not one specific in mind, but you can hear this all over the stuff in the 80s. I think used by Jan Hammer and on the Marimba Sound soundtrack, and quite a few groups in the 80s. Organ sounds on the DX7 are actually pretty good because the way the operators work in a DX7 and TX7 FM is similar to, you can emulate an organ with 6 drawbars. This one you'll recognise, Tubular Bells from Top Gun soundtrack, used by Harold Faltermeyer, but it's also used on tons of 80s Christmas songs. Very famous DX7 patch, this. And one of the reasons why it was such a good patch, this one, is because that's actually not that easy a sound to create on analog synth. The DX7 came out digital synth and had these bell-like sounds from FM that were harder to create on a traditional analog synth, so hence these became popular. Such a good sound, that one. Another of my favourites here is called Nylon Guitar. You may recognise this one. From Yamaha Crockett's theme from Marimba soundtrack. There's loads of brass sounds for the DX, but the one I like particularly is brass 3. Something maybe like level 42. something like that. Level 42s use a lot of DX7, and that combined with actual brass section, probably saxophones, is that sound from Lessons in Love. There is another one which is a bit brighter. Much brighter sound with that, but I like the softer one. Okay, another famous one used on so many tracks in the 80s, including Howard Jones, Level 42, Aha, all sorts. So this is the E-bass one. Kenny Loggins. I actually like one called Super Bass, which is a bit of a harder slap. Also used on loads of 80s track, Tangerine Dream and others, but the electric bass one is probably the most famous one. And the final song for this collection, the final sound for this collection, I couldn't do any 80s sound collection without using E-Piano 1, one of the presets from the ROM bank. And this is the famous electric piano. So this is the electric piano used by Phil Collins, Elton John, Whitney Houston. Just about every 80s power ballad had this in some way. Phil Collins, and again, a bit like the bass, there is actually another one which I do prefer. There's obviously so many of these, but this one is a little bit brighter. So those are a few of my famous DX7 patches. Right here on the TX7, you can get my patch bank from thislife.com, music tech download section. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll do some more of these soon. Thanks for watching.